What screams I'm poor but pretend I'm rich? People who buy used BMWs. Only letting the phone call ring once cause you can't pay your phone plan, and you have an iPhone whatever the latest shit is. Anything designer with a huge logo on the front. For British people, holidays to Dubai. Often the same price as going to Spain but somehow seen as flashy and aspirational despite being a miserable hole built on slavery. Large bar tabs and small tips. Me, telling people I own Bitcoin, but conveniently not mentioning that I only own 002 BTC. When they scream it's iPhone or nothing. Phone is a phone, and if you have to scream at people only the expensive brand is worth anything, that's a sign. iPhone user with no data or voice plan. Louis Vuitton purses and bags. I've read that up to 90% are fake. I always laugh when I see one, just assuming they are fake and the person is a wannabe. A fart box muffler on a Subaru, blasting deep bass with the rear deck hatch flapping so hard you can't hear the music. I used to live in a trailer park and a surprising amount of neighbors had luxury cars, Mercedes/Lexus/BMW etc. Owning designer clothes but not a house or apartment. Too many cars that you can't drive like my asshole neighbor. Having new vehicles you can't afford to fill with gas. A new house that you can't afford and can hardly make the payments. Using credit cards to pay your other credit cards or other credit. Driving an old Maserati you bought a few months ago, only to sell it in a few weeks, BC you're too poor for the repairs. My cousin keeps on posting food and beach outings on his Facebook while his mom rant to me that my cousin is full of debt. Day trading and trend analysis. Supreme except it screams him a dumbass. Gucci. Remember Lil Tay? King Street, Toronto. A poorly maintained luxury car. Driving 10+Y-old premium brand car. Gucci. Having an iPhone 6s while proudly shouting out that Androids suck. Counterfeit clothing. Flaunting logos more than the actual product. Nothing screams I'm poor more than seeing someone plastered in brands they think are luxury. Designer brand everything. Designer brands cost a lot of money, and majority of the time aren't worth what you are paying for, you're literally just paying for the brand. People who fork out thousands of dollars to make sure everything they are seen with is designer, usually have spent majority of their money on those brands. People who know how to save money know that it's best spent on quality items that last, which usually aren't designer. 10-year luxury sedans. Edit, and this comes from owner of one. Cocaine. Pretty much everything thing in a typical rap video. Fake Rolex. Flaunting wealth is a sign of not being wealthy. It's the wealth they have in private that defines the very wealthy. When a person takes photos in front of an expensive car that isn't even theirs and says look at my new, insert car name, thank you daddy. There's something about Rolexes that puts me off. Every single time I have met someone in a business setting for the first time and they have a Rolex on, they have turned out to be full of it. I know they are expensive watches, but they aren't instant credibility to me, quite the opposite. The vast majority of influencers. An older luxury car with an obscene amount of miles on it. Treating and speaking of truly impoverished people with disdain. Poor on the inside. Cheap leather shoes. Okay, a fake Gucci bag. Bragging about how expensive something you bought is. Giving very foreign names to your children because it sounds fancy but in your country it's actually very confusing and hard to pronounce. Shoe obsession. Those dumbass I want it, I got it TikToks. Taking the muffler off of a BMW. 22 in rims. Deleted. Huge rims on an otherwise crappy looking car. PlayStation. People who lease very nice cars and live in an apartment. Their paychecks go to their car payment. Buying obviously fake designer merch then flaunting it as real on social media. Buying $200 shoes. Overly gold furniture or gaudy furniture in general. It's like a poor man's perception of rich. Expensive rims on a shitty car. Thick gold chain jewelry. For men, wearing fancy clothes, especially if you're talking about street clothes. A guy with a fancy suit may actually be rich, but when I see some prick flexing his $650 high tops, I already know he doesn't have the cognitive financial ability to be rich. Fake chains. BMW. AirPods and current-day Gucci items. My neighbor lost his job waiting tables during the pandemic. Then he bought a Corvette as his second car. So, my neighbor is the answer. Gucci, or anything of the sort. People who actually have money have no interest in such frivolous things. Armani and Gucci splashed across a t-shirt. Those phony Louis Vuitton handbags all the suburban moms seem to have. So cheesy and fake, but it's almost a herd delusion of faux wealth. Posting literally everything you buy on your Instagram story. No one really cares about how many gym pants, makeup or other packages you bought. It just always gave me the vibe of you're not used to getting nice things, so whenever you do, you post it everywhere. Kinda has the opposite of the intended effect. I don't know if I am being an asshole here, but I always found the whole take on debt, because it's other people's money, to be a common adage of the poor pretending to be rich. Buying a $30,000 car with next to nothing down, putting 3.5% down on a house, financing your girlfriend's diamond ring, etc. Are there people who actually use debt wisely, like for a mortgage? Yes. However, I typically associate poor with swimming up to your eyeballs in debt. Maybe that is my issue, but when people put down my debt-free lifestyle, I think you don't have as much money as you think you do. Edit, as a side note, people that look very average in terms of wealth, driving a 2007 Honda Civic, living in a middle-class house with not too much extra space, etc., are often the richest people. They got there in some way, they didn't find the need to spend frivolously to be happy. Apple products. Taking photos posing in business/first-class cabins. People who can afford it don't do that. Clothing with those big flashy logos, nice cars, financed at high interest rates for 84 months, in not so nice areas, as well as having a need to show off possessions. Bragging about pay too. Naming your children after luxury brands. The phone, or the fact that a necklace, watch, wallet, etc. has a very distinct brand or color. Buying items that are obviously outside their means, and making sure everyone knows about it. Using my vest as a shadow source for when it's hot. Brand names are the focus of your clothing. More pricey items often have more discreet branding. And very expensive items often have zero visible branding. Leaving your tab open at a bar and ordering only one drink the entire night. Tapping credit card on bar as you wait for your check. Me, I'll have a PBR. Them, do you wanna open it, ab? Me, yeah, better leave it open. Gonna be a wild night. Posing next to a luxury car that's not even yours. ATVs. How my Dominican family fights tooth and nail to give their kids Nike or Adidas before they can even walk. Gucci. SHIB is up 25% in poor but Lambo soon. Anything you get from Gucci or Supreme. Leased luxury cars. Flashy designer items. Around here it's driving a Camaro. They run some lucrative leasing options on them, and if you go by any of the lower-end apartment complexes there will be a bunch of them in the parking areas. Giant but cheaply built house with even cheaper IKEA-level furniture. Showing up at the airport in full designer clothing and luggage set but flying economy. Yeezy. Nice shoes. iPhone. AirPods. No car. BMW. Posting Shutterstock images to flex. Showing off a Louis Vuitton branded item. LV is technically a designer brand, but it's like saying Chevette and Corvette are the same thing because they are both cars. Just about anyone can own a LV purse, especially if you shop the secondary market. Flexing your money or renting a Ferrari just to take pictures of it. Carrying a big roll of cash with you. My neighbors. My current credit score. A 2005 Mercedes CLK in silver in need of panel work. Me in the morning. Driving your Tesla to Walmart. Guys, never buy anything that floats, flies, or drives. Always lease it. If you have a company, lease the vehicle to your corp and write off the payments.